When I was young, when you came down these places, there weren't any clothes poles. The clothesline stretched from side to side, and this was full of people's clothes all hanging out here. And up this #1 stair, Wee Wee stayed. That was the name of the man. Nickname was Wee Wee. He was a Wilson. Wee Wee stayed up there. It was a wonderful village to live in, believe you me. Everyone knew you. Well, if you got into trouble, your granny knew within 5 minutes. Mason's Bakery always gave children the cuttings. That's when they made vanilla cakes and fruit cakes. You stood in the queue for pies, you put your tin down at the queue, and then you played over the road. And at 11 o'clock, the baker would come out with all the cuttings off the vanilla cakes and the fruit cakes. Oh, they were delicious. I loved the vanilla cakes. And they also made a cake that was a meringue and a marshmallow combined. And that was the best baker. You had Shaw's baker. He catered for the fish salesmen down the market. They came up to Shaw's the bakers after the fish had been sold to get their breakfast. When you look down at the fish market now, how prosperous it used to be here with the size of that fish market. It opened at 6:30. They didn't start selling fish till 8 o'clock, but they opened at 6:30, and the fish would all be landed. Lorries were coming from different places, and this all been fish. So before Harry Ramsden and all these places came here, it's a wonderful place to come. It really was. During the herring season, there was tie up here at the slip, and they'd be going right across the harbour. So the one that was out furthest away would land its fish to that boat. It eventually got ashore at the time, because there was a great thing after the war was the herring, and this harbour was always full of herring boats. Came from everywhere. And when they were landing the herring, you'd pick it off the ground, and you'd put 6 herring on a piece of string, and you'd go around and chap on the door. Hey, missus, 6 herring for 6p? No. 3p? No. She would give you 2p, because herring was so plentiful. But as a boy, you were endeavouring to make money. And like broken fish boxes, they were never broken. But as a boy, you jumped on them, and they were broken. Then you chucked them up for sticks then, and sold the sticks. Oh, we were a terrible crowd, really. We should have been put in jail half the time. That was when the men used to do the lobster pots, because you'll probably see now at the far side, there are some creels there, lobster creels on the far side. They've always mended their creels or made creels over there. It was only used for that one purpose, for the lobsters. This was the side they landed the herring on. And the yawls would stretch right up to the top end. And at that corner over there, in the harbour, the corner, that was what they called the corner. It was sand. And every year, the yawls go into the corner there. As the tide's going out, they're scraping their boat. Then the tide's out, they paint it. The tide will come in, they'll turn the boat round and do the same again. So every fisherman, every yawl has a chance of going to the corner. And you're there for about a week, really, by the time you got your boat painted and scraped. And you learn to swim in the harbour. I was never a swimmer. I could swim about 20 yards, I was puzzled. But you would swim if you could swim from here to the other side of the harbour. That was the distance that you swam. Well, my father, he had lots of life-saving medals for the harbour. He always said that he used to push people in and jump in and save them. And my cousin Danny was the same. As a scout, oh, he must have 8 or 9 people out the harbour. We always thought he did like my father did. Give them a dunt and they would fall in the harbour and they would go and swim there. When you come to this bit here, this is where you are walking on water. This has all been reclaimed. No, that was never there. The market finished there. You walked across here, you came up here onto this bit, and you walked on water. I always tell people, you are now walking on water. Not only Jesus can do it, we in the village can walk on water, which is here. And that is the old lighthouse there. Well, that goes way back to 1400s. The old lighthouse as such, that you had to climb up. You see the bracket thing at the top there? There's be a big cast iron basket on there that you filled up with wood or coal for the course of the night, so people could see it burning like a beacon. And as a boy you would come down here to play and what we called the extension when they were building up the harbour. You came down here to throw stones at the rats because it was swarming naturally. A harbour used to come down here and chase the rats. Terrible people we were, honestly. Tradition says that, or has it that, to be a bowtow, a New Haven lady, women had to marry a New Haven man, and their children would be called bowtows. But I could never be called a bowtow, because my granny, she married a blackguard stranger. She married someone from Leith, so her family could never be called bowtows as such. They were called bowtows, but they weren't really a bowtow because they weren't of New Haven stock. With these traditions, you can't trace them anywhere. It's handed down. That a fisherman would always give you a tow over the bow. He would row stern, and your boat would be there. So his tow line would be over his bow to your bow, and he would be rowing backwards. And that was called a bow tow. And during the weddings, a man would have with his wife, and they would say that he was a bow tow. His wife would be in tow with him. Strange. And that was when they had what they called the penny weddings. At a wedding, you would pay me to come to my wedding, a penny, and as I walked through the village, we would have a shawl over the two of us to bind us together as you walk through the village to the church. Now, if I was fancying this young lady here, are you listening to what I'm saying to you? Are you paying attention?
I am paying attention.
Strictly paying attention.
I am.
Take her by the hand, go along, and you walk round the lighthouse. But made sure that you stayed to the edge, and you always made sure the tide was in, because if you didn't, you would fall down and go onto the skelf. Well, round the lighthouse, there's about that much space, so you would take her by the hand, and you would go around the lighthouse. I mean, half of these romances, or more than half, never lasted, but it was a case that I fancy her, so we'll go around the lighthouse, and you just walk around the lighthouse there. That was one of these traditions that you've done in New Haven.